Dear viewer, imagine this. You're sitting alone in your living room. The clock ticks louder than usual. You pick up your phone, scroll through messages, and there's nothing new. No missed calls, no check-ins, just silence. And then finally a conversation with your adult child, only for them to say something that cuts deeper than silence ever could. You're being dramatic. We're too busy for this right now. You should be grateful we still talk to you. Sound familiar? If you're over 60, chances are you've heard one or more of these phrases. Maybe not in anger, but in frustration, dismissal, or cold indifference. And while they might seem small, these words are not harmless. They can slowly wear down your spirit, erode your dignity, and leave you questioning your worth as a parent and a human being. Let me be clear. Your age does not make you disposable. Your years of sacrifice do not become irrelevant with time. This video is not about blaming your children. It's about helping you recognize the red flags. It's about empowering you to protect your emotional health. Because when love starts to hurt more than it heals, it may be time to take a step back. Let's explore 7 phrases that, when spoken by your grown children, should signal one thing. It's time to protect your heart. Phrase 1. You're just being dramatic. This is one of the most dismissive phrases a parent can hear. Imagine this. You open up to your adult son or daughter about feeling lonely. Maybe you express how much you miss spending time together, or how your joints ache more these days and the stairs in your house feel harder to climb. You're not complaining. You're sharing. But instead of concern, they brush you off. You're just being dramatic. You always blow things out of proportion. You're making something out of nothing. That response is a dagger wrapped in a smile. It tells you that your reality, your emotions, your experience isn't worth taking seriously. It's a form of emotional gaslighting. You begin to question whether your feelings are valid. You shrink a little more each time. Maybe next time you won't bring it up at all. But let's stop and reframe this. You are not dramatic for feeling sadness, discomfort, or worry. Those feelings are deeply human. They are your truth, and no one, not even your child, has the right to dismiss them. This phrase often comes from children who don't want to deal with their own discomfort. Maybe they feel guilty for not visiting more. Maybe they're afraid of your aging. Maybe they simply don't have the emotional maturity to sit with you in your vulnerability. But that's their burden to carry, not yours. You are allowed to express how you feel. You are allowed to ask for connection. And you are allowed to set a boundary when those feelings are dismissed. The next time someone calls you dramatic, remember, there is nothing dramatic about being honest. There is everything dramatic about being ignored. Phrase 2. We'll figure it out without you. On the surface, this phrase might seem practical or harmless, but to a parent who spent their life guiding, leading, solving problems for the family, this sentence cuts deep. Let's say your adult children are making decisions about your health care, or your home, or even about grandkids' education or family holidays. You try to offer advice, not control, just a suggestion, a thought, based on decades of life experience. And then comes the response, we've got it. We'll figure it out without you. You don't need to worry about this anymore. And just like that, you're pushed aside. This is how emotional exile begins. Not with a fight, but with quiet dismissal. It's painful to realize that the wisdom you spent years cultivating is now considered irrelevant. But what makes it worse is the implication that you're a burden, an obstacle, or too fragile to have input. That your thoughts are no longer helpful but outdated. The truth is, your perspective matters. You've lived through multiple generations of challenges, wars, recessions, family deaths and births, technology revolutions, social upheaval. You've made tough decisions and weathered storms. You're not too old to participate. You're experienced enough to enrich the conversation. But if they refuse to let you in, not just once, but over and over, then ask yourself, are they setting healthy boundaries or just excluding you to feel more powerful? There's a big difference between letting your children grow into decision makers and allowing them to erase your voice completely. If this is the pattern, it's time to stand tall and remind yourself, you don't need to beg to be part of your own life. Phrase 3. You should be grateful we still visit. This one may come after weeks or months of silence. Then finally your child calls or stops by. You smile, you put on a fresh shirt, you make tea. You're just so happy to see them. But somewhere in the visit, the tone shifts. Maybe you ask why they've been distant. Maybe you express how much you've missed them. And then they say it. You should be grateful we even came. You know how busy we are. Be thankful we made time. Suddenly, the joy turns sour. The warmth you felt is now tinged with guilt. Instead of feeling loved, you feel like a chore. This is emotional manipulation. It reframes their presence not as a gesture of love, but as a favor, something you're supposed to feel indebted for. But let's take a moment to reflect. Did you ever say to your child, "You should be grateful I fed you today? You should be thankful I came to your school event"? You showed up because you love them. You made time when there was no time. You didn't keep score. Now, as the years have passed, you are not demanding constant attention, but you deserve authenticity. And if someone only visits to avoid guilt or obligation, then perhaps it's time to stop clinging to those moments as proof of love. Visits and calls should be expressions of care, not tokens to silence your needs. Let go of the guilt. You are not selfish for desiring more, and you do not owe gratitude for crumbs of affection. You deserve real connection. Period. Praise 4. You're too old to understand. It starts subtly. Maybe your adult child is dealing with a new technology or career move. You ask a question and they chuckle. "Oh, Mom, it's complicated. You wouldn't get it." "Dad, don't worry about this. It's not for your generation." Sometimes it's said kindly. Other times it's filled with irritation. But either way, it sends a clear message. You're no longer mentally capable of contributing. This is ageism, and it's more common than you think. Your life didn't start with their birth. You had goals, talents, a sharp mind, a strong voice. You managed homes, careers, finances, relationships, all before there were apps to help with it. And while you may not know how to use a smartphone like they do, you do know how to survive, how to adapt, and how to thrive. This phrase robs you of dignity, and if repeated often enough, it convinces even the most confident parent to retreat in silence. But don't. Stay curious. Keep learning. Ask questions not because you're behind, but because you're still growing. You are never too old to understand, but they may be too young to appreciate your understanding. Praise 5. You've done enough damage already. This phrase is a landmine. It usually explodes during an argument. Tensions rise. Maybe your child is going through something hard, and instead of seeking help, they lash out. "You messed me up. You were a terrible parent. You ruined everything." And there you are, standing in the ruins of their accusations, wondering what was real. Yes, parenting is messy. Mistakes happen. No one raises children without scars. But this phrase is used not to heal but to hurt. It's a form of emotional punishment, keeping you trapped in guilt for things that may have happened 10, 20, even 30 years ago. If you've taken accountability, if you've apologized, if you've grown, then you don't deserve to live your golden years haunted by your past. Everyone has a right to process childhood pain, but when it turns into constant blame, it becomes toxic, and you are not required to sit in the courtroom of your child's memory forever awaiting judgment. You did the best you could with what you had. If your child refuses to acknowledge that and continues to weaponize your past, then it's time to lovingly detach. You can love them from a distance. You can wish them healing without being their emotional punching bag. Phrase 6, don't expect us to take care of you. This one may come disguised as a realistic boundary, but it often feels like abandonment. Aging brings vulnerability. The idea of getting sick, of not being able to drive, of needing help with the basics, it's frightening. And when your child bluntly says, "We won't be taking care of you," don't expect us to deal with that stuff. It feels like being left alone on a sinking ship. Yes, not everyone can become a caregiver, and not every child is equipped to take on that role. But how it's communicated matters. If it's done with empathy, it feels like honesty. If it's done with coldness, it feels like rejection. You don't need to be taken care of, but you do need to be respected, even in your limitations. If this phrase comes from a place of cruelty, use it as fuel to plan your next steps. Secure your independence. Know your legal rights. Build support systems outside the family if needed, because depending on those who don't care will break your heart before your body ever breaks down. Phrase 7. We're busy, you'll have to understand. The phone rings less, the visits get shorter, and when you ask why, they say, we're busy. You know how life is. We'll come when we can. At first you nod. You understand. Life is busy, but weeks turn into months. Birthdays are missed. Check-ins are replaced with silence. And the message becomes clear. You're not a priority. No one is too busy for a 2-minute call. No one is too overwhelmed for a quick thinking of you message. People make time for what matters. And if they don't make time for you, it's not about their schedule. It's about their values. You deserve presence, not as a luxury, but as a birthright of love. Stop waiting by the phone. Stop measuring your worth by who shows up. Show up for yourself, because when they finally call, they might find you happy, thriving, and no longer waiting. Closing thoughts. When love becomes conditional, protect your heart. If you've made it this far, you might be holding back tears, or maybe your chest feels heavy with recognition. And I want you to hear this loud and clear. You are not alone. So many older adults go through this silent heartbreak. You gave your life to your children, your youth, your energy, your dreams, and now you feel like you've been shelved, forgotten, devalued. But here's the thing. You don't have to stay in that pain. Yes, they're your children. Yes, you love them. But love without respect is a prison. So what do? You draw a line. You create emotional boundaries. You stop begging for phone calls. You stop chasing after people who won't meet you halfway. You stop accepting breadcrumbs when you deserve a feast. Instead, you invest in you. Join a community. Volunteer. Travel if you can. Write your memoir. Learn something new. Nurture friendships with those who see you. Let your children come to you when they're ready. And if they don't, mourn it, then move forward, because your life didn't end when they grew up. Your story is still unfolding, and it's time you write this chapter for you. If this video touched something deep in your heart, if you saw yourself in these words, if you've ever felt unseen by the very people you raised, please don't stay silent. Leave a comment below and share your story. Your voice might be the one that comforts someone else tonight. You are not alone, and together we can create a space of healing, strength, and support. Like this video if it resonated with you. It helps others who need this message to find it. Subscribe to this channel, Elderly and Wise, where we speak truth, offer compassion, and remind you that age does not erase your worth. It enhances it. Share this video with a friend, a sibling, or even your own children. Sometimes the words we struggle to say can be heard more clearly from someone else, because love is a two-way street, and your heart, it's still full of life, still full of wisdom, still full of love. Let's protect it together.